Matipu Cultural Performance Kuarup Kuikuro Festival 2019. Have you ever wondered what a traditional ceremony looks like when an entire community comes together to honor its ancestors, celebrate its identity, and pass ancient traditions from one generation to the next? Today, we are taking a fascinating journey into the heart of Brazil's Upper Xingu region to explore the cultural world of the Matipu people and the powerful traditions associated with the Kuarup, also known as Kuarup. The Kuarup is much more than a festival. It is a deeply meaningful ceremony connected with remembrance, community, music, dance, body painting, and traditional forms of cultural expression. For the indigenous peoples of the Xingu region, it represents an important moment for honoring respected members of the community who have passed away. The Matipu are one of the indigenous peoples of the Upper Xingu. Their history, language, music, ceremonies, and artistic traditions are closely connected with the surrounding environment and with relationships among neighboring communities. In 2019, the Matipu Kuarup was one of the important cultural events held in the Xingu region. The ceremony brought together people, traditions, music, movement, and symbolism in a remarkable display of indigenous cultural heritage. As we look at a Matipu cultural performance, one of the first things that captures our attention is the visual richness of the participants. Traditional body painting is an important part of many indigenous ceremonies in the Upper Xingu. Different patterns, colors, decorations, ornaments, and hairstyles can communicate cultural identity and help transform an ordinary gathering into a ceremonial occasion. But these performances are not simply about appearance. Behind every movement, every song, every rhythm, and every decoration is a cultural meaning that has been passed through generations. Music is another essential part of the experience. Traditional instruments and voices create a powerful atmosphere during the ceremonies. Some musical traditions are connected with particular rituals, while others are associated with the identity and history of the community. In the Upper Xingu, music can bring people together in ways that words alone cannot. The Kuarup itself is especially important because it is connected with the memory of people who have died. According to Brazil's National Foundation of Indigenous Peoples, FUNAI, the ceremony marks the end of a period of mourning and provides an opportunity for communities to remember their ancestors and loved ones. This gives the ceremony a very different meaning from a modern entertainment festival. For the participants, it is connected with memory, respect, responsibility, and community. The decorated wooden trunks used during Kuarup represent deceased people being honored. Around these symbolic elements, prayers, songs, crying, dancing, and other ceremonial activities can take place. The entire community becomes part of the process. Another fascinating aspect of Kuarup is the gathering of different indigenous peoples from the Xingu region. In 2019, FUNAI reported that several indigenous groups, including Matipu and Kuikuro, participated in the Kuarup season. The ceremonies were held in different villages across the region during the dry season. This demonstrates something very important about the festival. Although each community has its own identity and traditions, the Kuarup can also create a powerful sense of connection among the peoples of the Upper Xingu. People travel, meet relatives and neighboring communities, share food, participate in ceremonies, and observe traditions together. This creates a living cultural network. For viewers watching a Matipu cultural performance today, it is important to understand that we are not simply seeing a dance from the past. We are seeing a living tradition. Indigenous cultures are not museum exhibits. They continue to evolve while maintaining connections to ancestral knowledge. The Matipu community continues to preserve cultural knowledge through language, music, ceremonies, crafts, storytelling, and relationships between generations. Young people can learn by observing elders and participating in community life. That process is extremely important because traditional knowledge cannot always be fully explained in a book. Sometimes it is learned through watching. Sometimes it is learned through listening. Sometimes it is learned by participating. And sometimes it is learned simply by being present during an important community ceremony. The Kuarup also reminds us of the importance of remembering those who came before us. Modern life can move extremely quickly. Technology, cities, social media, and changing lifestyles can sometimes make people feel disconnected from their history. But ceremonies such as Kuarup demonstrate how cultural memory can remain alive through collective participation. A song can carry memory. A traditional design can carry identity. A dance can carry history. And a ceremony can connect one generation with another. The Matipu cultural performance is therefore not only visually impressive. It represents a much deeper story about community and continuity. It tells us that culture survives when people practice it, teach it, respect it, and pass it forward. Another remarkable feature of Upper Xingu culture is the relationship between different communities. The Matipu and Kuikuro peoples have historical and linguistic connections. Research on the region explains that the Matipu emerged from an earlier community associated with the old villages of Oti, while Matipu and Kuikuro developed as related language varieties over time. This shared history helps us understand why cultural events in the Upper Xingu can involve both distinct identities and strong connections. When we watch footage from the Kuarup period, we should therefore pay attention not only to the costumes and performances, but also to the people around them. Look at the way participants gather. Look at the way music organizes the atmosphere. Look at the traditional decorations. Look at the interaction between different generations. And most importantly, look at the sense of community. That sense of community is perhaps the most powerful part of the entire experience. The Kuarup also includes other traditional activities. In some ceremonies, the famous hookah wrestling takes place, bringing together warriors and guests from participating communities. Funai describes hookah as an important part of the broader Kuarup tradition. These activities demonstrate that the ceremony combines many different forms of cultural expression. There is music, there is dance, there is ritual, there is physical competition, there is traditional decoration, there is food and hospitality. And above all, there is remembrance. The 2019 Matipu Kuarup gives us an opportunity to appreciate the cultural richness of the Upper Xingu without reducing the ceremony to simple entertainment. Every movement has a context. Every tradition has a history. And every community has its own voice. As viewers, our responsibility is to approach these traditions with respect. Instead of asking only, what does this performance look like? We can also ask, what does this performance mean to the people who perform it? That question changes the way we see indigenous culture. It encourages us to look beyond the colors, costumes, and sounds and understand the human story behind them. The Matipu cultural performance is ultimately a celebration of identity, memory, and continuity. It reminds us that cultural heritage is strongest when it remains part of everyday community life. The Kuarup shows how an ancient tradition can continue to bring people together in the modern world. And perhaps that is the most important lesson we can take from this remarkable ceremony. Culture is not simply something we inherit. Culture is something we continue. We continue it through our songs. We continue it through our stories. We continue it through our families. We continue it through our ceremonies. And we continue it by teaching the next generation. The Matipu Kuarup of 2019 gives us a fascinating window into one of the rich indigenous traditions of Brazil's Upper Xingu region. It is a story of respect for ancestors, strength of community, cultural identity, and the determination to preserve knowledge across generations. So, as you watch the Matipu cultural performance, take a moment to appreciate more than what appears on the screen. Listen to the rhythm. Observe the movements. Notice the traditional decorations. And remember that behind this extraordinary visual experience is a living community with a long history and a culture that continues to be practiced today. The Kuarup is a powerful reminder that remembering the past can help communities strengthen their future. And that is what makes the Matipu cultural performance so fascinating, not simply the spectacle, but the meaning